Louisiana All American Sports Show. 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 Louisiana. If the sports you wanna talk about, then listen to the hottest show that's coming out the South. It's Eric Hatfield and Coach Perry Daniels, man. They're gonna sit you down and tell you all about the game and make it plain. 96.9 FM, that's the station. To hear the best sports talk show in the nation. Without hesitation, you should get with this and get your popcorn ready for you better not miss. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana. It's Joker B. Check this out.
Ooh, I'm just so fresh, so clean. Good morning, Baton Rouge. It's a gorgeous, perfect Saturday morning. Today is November the 14th, 2015, and we are live in studio for another edition, the 46th edition of the year 2015 of the Louisiana All American Sports Show. The Art Scott show that was on right before ours, we're talking about tattoos, and it's interesting because there were some Louisiana football teams. There were some Louisiana football teams that got tattooed pretty heavily last week, so we're hoping that trend reverses this week. Good morning. This is Eric Hatfield.
And I'm Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker P.
And I'm Coach Bill again.
And we have a special guest in studio this week. Last night's Louisiana All American Sports Player of the Game and the playoff win by Scotlandville over Sam Houston, and that is running back Trenton Charles, live and in studio. And Trenton, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Welcome, man.
Good morning. Thank y'all for having me.
And I'll tell you, we'll get right to it on the prep scene. Last night, Louisiana All American Sports, right here on 96.9 FM WHYR, delivered the first round 5A playoff game at Scotlandville High School against the Sam Houston Broncos out of Lake Charles. Scotlandville and Sam Houston kind of tapped each other out like a couple of prize fighters, but in the end, the Broncos could not evade the Hornets' sting, and Trenton Charles, our guest in studio, scored 3 touchdowns last night and was just, by all means, just took the game over and really ran away from those Broncos.
Most definitely he did, man, and it was an amazing performance by you, Trenton Charles. So glad to have you in the studio here. You're joined by your father. So, they say you get it from your mama, but no, you get it from your dad.
That's right.
That's how we do it here at the Louisiana All American Sports Show,
That's
man.
right.
We want to congratulate you, and I want to thank you. I wish we had applause. He needed us.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hate Windows 10 so much. It updates your computer automatically, or we'd have one for him.
We would have had
so
applause.
we're going to do the old-fashioned way.
Give him the applause, man. Player of the game. Great game you had last night, man. First of all, I want to congratulate you again for a big win. What do you think about your performance last night?
Thank you, man. And it was just playing football. Playoffs doesn't get any better than the playoffs, and it's time to go out and shine. Time to dominate.
I thought that's exactly what you guys did last night. We watched you play several times this season,
yes.
So we've seen it, and last night was no exception. But why don't you kind of explain to us in your own words? You have an explosiveness, a fifth gear that we've seen, but last night you were telling me how you got to know when to turn it on. You can't just explode through the line or it's just not going to work. It's not just raw speed. Tell us about how your skills kind of help your team every week.
Well, sometimes when the running game isn't working, they have to give me an open space. And open space is when I'm at my best. But I can't just burst through the line and run directly into the linebacker. After I get through the line, I have to make a decision on where I'm going. And the better my game is, the better my team's game is.
You guys have an offensive line that every week just seems to open up 6-lane highways for you and for Levi and for everybody else. They're often the unsung heroes. They don't pile up the stats to score touchdowns, but they make it happen as much as anybody else, if not first and foremost. Why don't you talk about those 5 horses up front?
Man, our offensive line is tremendous. It's the best offensive line I've ever played behind. And they're hard-working cats. They work hard every day in practice. They're just big fellas, and they dominate.
Oh, man,
Can you name them?
He said, can you name them?
Can I name them?
Your offensive lineman.
Manzi Williams.
Okay.
Brian Thomas. Elwin McNeely. Chavelis Harris.
Oh.
And DeQuano Lewis.
All right.
Those are 5 big, tough guys you got on that team.
Supposed to be your best friends right there, the offensive lineman. You did an absolutely amazing job. You kind of remind me about having the speed and the look of a Chris Johnson. You remember
Yes, we talked about that.
Speed and smaller back.
And the hair.
And the hair. Yeah, it does have the dreads and everything, too, to go along with it. You all have playmakers on the receiving, of course, Levi and you. So I think it's y'all's offense, you know, with the playmakers that you have. You said it absolutely right by putting you all in open space, so, you know, to give y'all a chance to be able to make plays. So what would you say, how did you assess your season this season?
This season is a big step up from last season. But the loss we had was because we couldn't handle our success that well. When we lost to Zachary, if we would have just stayed focused throughout the entire game, that game would have been a win for us. But other than that, we had a pretty good season. We've dominated most teams we played against.
Coach, you got anything?
Man, that was a mouthful right there. Who's next on the agenda for Scotlandville? Who do you play next?
Mandeville.
And that will...
Mandeville.
Go ahead, Coach.
I'm wondering, is it home or away, Eric?
It is. Oh, well, that's where I was going with that. That is in all probability, unconfirmed, but I think very probable going to be the next Friday night game of the week. The second round game will be at Scotlandville. That's what Coach Valdez told me, and I have no reason to think that Louisiana All American Sports won't be there. So that'll probably be in all probability our second round playoff game here on 96.9 FM, streaming at WHYR.org, 7 o'clock Friday night at Scotlandville.
Well, you know, here at Louisiana All American Sports, like I said, you know, we believe in giving fathers their just due, and we have his father here in the studio, and I want to give him a chance to say his name and everything. And he just told me very, very most important thing that I've heard today, and he said that Trenton Charles has a 4.5 GPA, and I think that deserves a hand clap.
Golly!
I definitely want to give him a hand clap for that.
You taking AP classes and stuff?
Honest.
Woo-wee! Good for you, young fella.
I want you to tell us your name.
Good for you.
And, you know, what you think about your son, what he did last night.
My name is John Kolar. I'm Trenton's father. I think last night was awesome. It was a breakout game for him. I think even though he's been pretty good, it all came together last night. But as a child, he's an awesome child. You know, never really had problems with him. He's a great student. You know, just all around well-grounded child. You know.
Well, that takes mom and dad. So kudos to pops. Wow.
I mean, so Mr. Collard, was Trenton on last year's Scotlandville team?
Yes, he played. He made the varsity team, but he might have gotten 2 carries last year. But he averaged probably 100 yards a game on 10 carries in JV ball.
Okay, so as a parent, when you heard that there was going to be a coaching change at that school, what were your thoughts?
You put me on the spot with that one.
And there's no one on the spot because it all worked out in the end.
Right,
so there's nothing you can say wrong here.
I would say this: I'm very pleased with Coach Valdez and Coach Peters with what they've done with the team. The discipline this year is far better than it was last year, and the offensive scheme allows them to do the things they do on offense.
Absolutely. So, but is it fair to say that there was a little anxiety regarding that coaching change
I think
at the beginning?
Yeah, well, you know, we always afraid of the unknown, so I mean I think that's quite natural, you know. But it didn't take long for you know, for them to buy, and I could tell them coming home, you know.
You know, Coach Valdez is actually a friend of the show even prior to his days at Scotlandville when he was a coach at West St. John. They really own that division. I think it was 6-1A or 9-1A. I forget, but they own that division. And when I heard that, when we heard Coach Randall left, it kind of made me turn sideways, especially considering the success the team had last year. That I said, who's replacing him? Coach Valdez. I'm like, all right. I get it. You know, I mean, it's
It made sense to all of us that follow high school football.
Exactly.
Closely. However, I know that a lot of the Scotlandville community did not know who Coach Valdez was, and they were very much supportive of Coach Randall.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to hear from a parent's
and then to add to that, the coaching change happened like a month before the season started.
Right.
Right.
That surprised all of us.
Right.
I think even Coach Valdez was surprised.
Wow.
Right.
Well, I have the most important question that I wanted to ask this young man. What do you run the 40 in?
In the 40, I'm around a 4.45 kind of person.
Okay, that's pretty good.
We had a chance to spend about a minute with Coach Valdez after the game. I want you to hear his comments, and I'd like you to respond to those remarks if you don't mind, please. Hang on one sec. Here's Coach. Okay. Gosh darn, Windows 10. In about 10 seconds, here is Coach. But yeah, I'd like you to hear what he said. I find that that players on any athletic squad, in particular high school football, are often a reflection. The players are often a reflection of their coach, and I think you guys are grounded definitely in the right guy. So, Coach V in just a moment. But I noticed that some of the things at the start of the year, when some of the language, the key words, the action words, the verbiage that he would use, I noticed when I talked to you and to Levi and some of the other kids now, I hear you all using that. And, this was what, here were his comments. Eric Hatfield here with the victorious Coach Robert Valdez as they have a convincing and solid win against what was an overmatched Sam Houston Broncos team, 40-14. Coach, you guys won convincingly, but I know that coaches are often the harshest critics on themselves. And from up there in the booth, I think I saw some things that I'm sure you want to improve on next week.
Well, I mean, they stayed true. That's a good football team. They stayed true to their form. They have a huge offensive line, and they ran the ball. That's what they do. They ran the ball very well. We got to do a little bit better job, defensively, eliminating the big third down plays. Offensively, we got to do a better job of, we should have scored on all four possessions that we had, 5 possessions, whatever, in the first half. I think we scored on all but 2. Then we drove the ball and just couldn't capitalize. And then second half, we were a bit out of sync, so we just got to get our composure. And, it's good to win ugly a little bit in this time of the year. It buys you another week of games. But, I think that, we just got to make some corrections on the things that we need to do and just keep working.
Coach, of course, you keep your lettuce high and tight like mine, so you probably want to be pulling out your metaphorical hair with some of those penalties on third down?
Yeah, it was, and they teach us to be a little bit sportsman and professional and making calls and judgments, but some of these things that I saw tonight was a little bit suspicious, to say the least, and, we're going to get those things. We just have to overcome them and just keep playing.
Next week, you all have Mandeville. They defeated Thibodeau tonight. They're a quality team. What do you guys have to do to beat them?
We got to eliminate mistakes, and we got to come out and play, and execute all 4 quarters. And we have to play our game and force them out of their game.
All right. And last but not least, talk about Trenton Charles. 3 touchdowns tonight. Incredible performance.
Oh man, this is a sophomore that has been really doing great things for us, and he sets our pace with the run game. So we're excited. We're excited to have him. We're excited about his future.
All righty, Coach. Do you know if you're going to be home or away next week?
We're home.
All right, fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, best of luck. So I'd like you to react to a couple of those things. First, his comments about you, and then also his comments about the team. I noticed when y'all broke down post-game, he didn't go all rah-rah just because y'all won. He said, hey, y'all got to do some things.
Yeah, he's never going to get too high or get too low. He understands that we always still have work to do. We had mistakes that we shouldn't have made.
And his remarks about you, he said, hey, you carry the team, and we're excited about his future.
I mean, I'm excited about my future too, but most importantly, I'm excited about where this team can go.
Yeah, great. Do you play any other sports or just primarily football?
Football and track.
And track. Okay. Well, go ahead, Coach.
Well, go ahead, Joker, and then I want to get the last question before we move on to the rest of the high school results.
Sure thing.
Okay, well, I just wanted to kind of give my assessment on what I thought Coach just said about the team's play last night. I thought he hit it right on the point that their offense was good. They scored on pretty much every possession that they had, but what I was a little bit concerned about was the big plays that Scotlandville gave up on the defense side with this lower-ranked team that you all faced. At first, they couldn't really do anything, but they seemed to have it was a few gaps in there that they hit on a few big plays. And going ahead in the playoffs, I think they're going to have to tighten up a little bit on defense. Offense, I think you guys are hitting on all cylinders pretty much. It was a couple of drives that they got stalled on. but I think you more focused on your defense on these upcoming teams, like the Mandevilles, and we're getting ready to go over the scores. But overall, you did a fantastic job. That's my assessment. So go ahead, Coach.
So, Trenton, have you ever heard of the term no wasted energy?
Yes, sir.
Can you explain to our listeners the no wasted energy philosophy that Coach Valdez preaches?
Well, he doesn't like for us to drive down the field and us to not score. If we decide we're going to get past the 50, we have to put points up on the board.
Right.
And prior to the game, how does that philosophy show itself? How does Scotlandville approach a pregame that is different than other schools in LHSAA?
I guess our school is a lot more intense. We have loud huddles. We have loud situations. We just play loud football. We play aggressive football.
Right. But is it anything that you all do in your pregame to save energy, so to speak, or anything routine-wise that you all do that's different from the other schools?
Well, our defense, they need to be hyped, but our offense is going to be more focused. Our quarterback, Levi Lewis, doesn't get hyped because he needs him to stay focused so he doesn't overthrow balls. I can't get too hyped so I don't start missing holes trying to do too much. So we just stay calm when we need to, and we turn it up when it's time.
Right.
All right.
Joker?
Well, I mean, on the other front, we had some other games that was, of course, we had last night, and it was the playoff time. And, of course, we're going to start out with Scotlandville. Defeat Sam Houston 40-14. They will be facing the number 12 seed Mandeville. They won last night against Thibodeau 41-24. Also in 5A, Hanville defeated Alexandria 49-12. They're going to face Santamar. Santamar won against Covington last night, so they're the 10 seed. So they'll be facing Hanville. Zachary, the number 2 seed, defeats Sulphur 54-32. So they will be facing Dutchtown, and Dutchtown won 31-17. That was in the 5A division, of course, and Division 1. Well, let's go to 5, the Class 4A. In 4A, Plaquemine won over Carver 36-21, so they will be facing Warren Easton, the number 5 seed.
Warren Easton last year was in that Final Four. They have a dynamic quarterback. I cannot remember the young man's name. It starts with a T and it's kind of long, but they better get ready. That's going to be a battle.
Wow. University Lab had a bye yesterday, but they will be taking on the next game. Will be Vanderbilt Catholic, the number 9 seed. In other division games, we had I know Madison Prep won last night, and I'm really impressed with those guys. They've been doing a fantastic job this year.
Leaps and bounds.
Yes, indeed, and of course we cover those guys, and I'm just looking forward to covering them again here in the playoffs. But they won 59-10 over our ship Hannon. They will be facing the next challenge will be St. Charles Catholic, number 5 seed. Other news that we have here in the local area, I'm trying to look up some local teams.
We had Southern Lab won last night against. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm going to stop trying to speculate. But I know our friends at Southern Lab did advance in the playoffs. That was the general message I was trying to get across there. As these
Southern Lab advanced, Cornell and Law.
Yes.
So look, while Joker's doing that, researching the rest of those teams, let's go ahead for the sake of time. Let's go ahead and get that music break going, and then we'll update anything that you find during the break. We'll update the rest of those high school scores.
10-4. 10-4. All right, here you go, Joker. And so here we go with the music break brought to you by Joker P. What you need, man? We're having some technical shuffles this morning. We're a little bit of a technical mess today. Between Windows 10 and the World Wide Web, we're just a little clunky today, kind of like LSU last week. Actually, that just wasn't clunky. That was just hard to watch. Here we go.
Send a heartfelt thanks to my dear brother Prince. He shows deep love, and I embrace it. He is the artistic genius in our midst. He is a musical artist among us. Raise your Socrates among us. They are precious too.
Powerful music, though. Listen to the words, folks.
Yeah.
Listen to the words.
Yeah, he was asking me about it. He said, man, that's some new Prince? And I was like, no, that's actually Cornel West. It was Prince. Or maybe you can say it's some new Prince.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because that's one of the first times I've seen Prince really make a song with Dr. Cornel West. And speaking of Cornel West, that kind of takes us to, I'll say Professor Cornel West, because he is a professor. And tied into sports, what happened on the Missouri campus, you know, with the resignation of the Missouri president coming after they had a student that was on the campus that was going on a hunger strike. Oh yeah, let's get to the scores first.
Look, real quick, folks,
Yeah,
because we want to get to this. We want to get to this just to catch you guys up.
Breaks. Let me hold up.
St. Aug got rubbed out last night. Their season comes to an end. Holy Cross faces Evangel Christian. In other local scores, we have Livonia. They advance. They will face Crowley as they knocked out LaGrange. Parkview Baptist will face St. Louis next week in the second round. In Class 3A, of course, our friends at Port Allen were eliminated, as were Bruley. They lost to Kaplan last night. Madison Prep crushed Archbishop Hannon. They will face St. Charles Catholic next week. In Class 2A, East Feliciana will face Lauraville as they advanced, defeating Pine last night. Division 4, our friends at Southern Lab absolutely crushed St. John 49-14. They will play Central Catholic. Central Catholic is a manageable team. They've beaten them before, but that's why they play the games, as Chris Berman would say. And that is going to wrap up our local scores from the Baton Rouge area. So without further ado, Joker, take it away. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, not a problem at all, man. We had to get those scores out for the other teams that we support here. But it was something that bigger that happened this week, and that was on the Missouri campus. There was a student there that had been protesting a lot of racism that was happening on the campus, and he went and had a hunger strike. And nothing was coming about it. He wasn't really getting any press for it at first until I guess he had friends that was on the football team, and they wanted to support this guy. And so at the end of the day, they all came together, got the support of the coach, and it just made national news. Once the team boycotted the game, and once they boycotted the game, then, you know, that took it to another level. The pressure started coming on. Social media got attached to it, and they started making demands, and they wanted the president out, and they said they wasn't going to play the football game until the president resigned, and he resigned. And it just kind of shows you. And actually, he did admit not doing much of what his duties of taking care of a lot of the complaints that they had of racism and sexism and, you know, and all.
He owned it. I mean, he did own it.
Yeah, he did own it. So I just thought it was a powerful, powerful thing, and it's starting to grow. Now it's starting to really cause a chain reaction in a sense. I saw, I think, then some students came. They found some students that made some death threats. Was it Howard University, Perry? Did you hear about that?
I absolutely heard about that. Let me fill in some details here. Jonathan Butler is the young man's name who was on the hunger strike at the University of Missouri. He is a former high school football player, won the state championship in the state of Nebraska, out of Omaha, Nebraska. And this shows the power of the people. And a reoccurring theme on this show, and Joker's one who touts this a lot on this show, is that the athletes need to be more conscientious.
Right.
Because this was going on, but it didn't really get teeth to it until those football players said, we are going to boycott all football activities until he steps down, the president. Now, him stepping down is not a resolution to the situation. For the University of Missouri and their board of trustees, they have put in an interim president who is an African-American descent. So that is a slight victory. courage to stand back and say we can't take this anymore. The situations that were going on that campus have been going on for years.
Right.
The final straw to break the camel's back was a swastika drawn in human feces on a wall in the Cultural Arts Center on campus. So, go ahead.
Oh, no, Coach, finish your thought. I'll wait. I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
Okay, so, no, but here is, first, let me say this. I am so proud to let people know that I was born in the state of Missouri.
Right.
Between Ferguson and those young people standing up for their rights, between what is going on in the University of Missouri, Missouri is showing the rest of the country how the power belongs to the people.
Exactly.
As Joker just alluded to, it has spread across the country. Ithaca, New York, 2 days after the president of Missouri steps down, the students at Ithaca, on the Ithaca, New York campus, they went on protest to demand that their president step down.
Right.
There are a number of campuses across this country where everyone knows that minority students are not only underrepresented on the faculty and the administration, not only underrepresented, but undersupported. The students are undersupported by the administration and the faculty. And people just walk around like, oh, well, that's just the way it is. There's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
Except for the people in Missouri.
Hey.
As I watched the young lady in the South Carolina classroom get abused by the police officer, the first thing that goes through my mind is, why didn't one of those young men in there
do something?
Stand up and say, hey, man, you can't do that.
Right.
You know, but it wasn't in Missouri. It was in South Carolina. So it's a different mentality. You know, and we have to raise young men. We have to raise young men. Hope you're listening, Mr. Charles. that know that we have to protect the sanctity of our womanhood, at all costs. And just because someone's wearing a badge, we are not going to sit there and watch them do that to our young people, our young ladies. And I know it takes a tremendous amount of courage, and Dad, I'm not trying to put your son in harm's way. I just want to make sure that we don't become complacent with the status quo of brutality, abuse, and oppression. I want to make sure that we are raising people that are willing to stand up against that.
Couple of
those people in Missouri are.
Couple of observations, and actually the second one's actually as much of a question as it is an observation. Last night during the Game of the Week broadcast, Joke and I touched on this at halftime, and I said, you know, there were a couple of big stories out of Missouri, and that the less serious, the less remarkable of the two was that longtime University of Missouri head football coach Gary Pinkel, who's been there since 2001, I think he's the longest tenured SEC coach, announced he'd be resigning at the end of the year because he wants to take time to fight cancer. He was diagnosed with lymphoma, and he wants to take time off to step away to treat his cancer. And I said, when cancer is the less serious of the two stories on the campus, right, you know, and a guy like that who's been around forever steps down, you know you got a serious situation. The other story, of course, being the powder keg that's there at Missouri. Another observation was, you know, before 2014, you know, I would have expected a story like this out of Alabama, Mississippi, South Carolina, maybe even somewhere around here. I would have never thought Missouri, but in light of the Ferguson situation, it seems like Missouri is not, you know, it's the show me state, and they're showing us. So, and I know Perry, until really I started to get to know Perry, I didn't realize, I mean, I know it's in the Midwest and a little closer to the South. I know it was never a utopia, but I never had any idea that the problems were this pronounced as pronounced in the state of Missouri, really, as they had been in other deep South states. So my question, Perry, is, and I guess you kind of touched on it earlier, so I don't want to recycle the same thing, but, why all of a sudden now are we seeing this explosion in Missouri? And kudos to the folks in Missouri. They're not just lying down. They're stepping up. They're marching in the streets. They're the football team taking tremendous risks. I mean, you're seeing it. So I guess help me, and more importantly, by extension, the audience, understand the dynamic in Missouri that might be a little different than the rest of the Deep South, and why we're seeing this now as opposed to 40 or 30 or 50 or even 30 years ago.
Well, one, in growing up in Missouri, the illusion of inclusion was very prominent. So because you're not in the South and you're in the Midwest, you grow up thinking, oh, well, everything's good. I'm going to be judged by the content of my character. But as you go through life and you see that is not the case, that frustration grows because in the South it's expected.
Exactly.
But in Missouri,
exactly.
Missouri, that borderline state, we had a veil over our eyes. So now that the veil has been lifted, the election of Barack Obama empowered African Americans across this country. And now there's just some things that we will no longer tolerate.
That's right.
And this is one.
Well,
so, look, a couple of things. I'm disappointed. This is what I was saying about the Duke University basketball team, because the exact same situation was going on at Duke. And Mike Krzyzewski, those Duke basketball players stood up, and they had a platform to do that during the Final Four. They were going through the exact same racist environment on their campus, and they could have easily made changes. This is why I'm so hard on the Los Angeles Clippers, because they had a great opportunity to say, we're not playing until there are some significant changes done. But then here comes Doc Rivers saying, look, I need y'all to do this, and they went out there and played the playoff game. So I'm just extremely proud of Missouri.
And you should be.
And those folks that are there.
I was going to say, Coach, I'll turn it over to you real quick. I was just going to say, in contrast, you mentioned the Clippers and Duke. You mentioned it's got to take some courage. You stand to lose something, and I think that speaks volumes for those football players at Missouri, with no guarantee of anything to take a risk. They could lose a scholarship, get suspended, get in trouble, get death threats, you never know. To take that risk for their principles and beliefs. Joker, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just want to get that in there.
Oh, no, man. By all means. But I just thought that, when I look at this, not only Missouri, South Carolina. So these are two states that we've had not only police brutality and police killings with Walter Scott and, of course, Michael Brown. But now it's kind of spilling off. See, I see it as a bigger issue.
And the Charleston bloodbath. Let's not forget that.
In Charleston, South Carolina. So, South Carolina, Missouri, now we have a school issue and we have classroom issue with the police, with the little girl. These two, this is just a bigger picture to me that's starting to see that societal type of stuff is starting to just spill out. With the advent of the Facebook and the social media now, and with more exposure and more TV, and just the way that the world, everybody's being able to now to express their feelings through social feelings. People can see what you're thinking as a collective. Now this is the moment for it to get together and protest. So this is the internet and social media has allowed the protest. It has helped the protest.
And technology.
It has helped. So
exactly. How long ago? 30 years ago, you wouldn't be able to see that cop, going WWE on a 14-year-old girl.
When they say something goes viral, that means that it's just one word can go out, bam, and it can just blow up like wildfire, and that can happen in a positive way. If you use it the right way, it can affect change. And I think you're going to see more of this. This is just the beginning. You're going to see more of this. This thing has been going on for years. Racism on these college campuses has been going on. It's not just now Missouri. It's just now they have a little platform. You have more eyes on it now, and now it just and with all of the stuff that's happening in society, this is the perfect time to protest, because you can say, well, hey, well, look what's going on out here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's just a great time.
Look, listeners, this is what we have to realize as a society. This thing is going to change. As we just heard in the song, your 1,000 years are up. It's time for you to share the land. So it's just a matter of how we're going to go about this change.
Right.
But this change is going to happen.
It's going to come.
Just Sam Cooke would say.
It's going to happen.
Yeah,
Sam
it's going
Cooke.
to happen. Rapid pace, at a rapid pace.
We are confident in the victory in the words of Bob Marley because we believe in good over evil.
That's right.
To paraphrase Bob Marley. So, we are a sports show.
Yep. Hey, that's all right. Real
We can
talk.
get back to the sports. Yeah, let's
Real
get back.
talk.
Yeah.
Real talk. That's all right. That's real talk.
Had to get that out.
Got men with real talk. That's what we do. We're a community radio station.
Well, when you have indigestion and all that type of stuff, you got to get it out.
I got that right, man. But now that my blood pressure's up, let me relax again.
If you don't burp it out, then it's going to come out another way.
And on that note. Oh, Southern University. University.
Let's go.
Which, as the Jaguars turn, I'll tell you what, this team has been something else. Look, today the Southern University Jaguars in their final home game at A.W. Mumford Stadium. This is senior night. By the way, Jaguar fans, if you go out there for 4 o'clock today, wear your gold. This is the gold game, so wear gold. And Our Lady of the Lake is sponsoring that, so of course we thank them for supporting our Jags. But they got Alabama A&M coming to town, and we've used this phrase a few times on the Louisiana All American Sports show this year, just what the doctor ordered. And actually, Southern's got a double dose of that medicine as they had Arkansas Pine Bluff. They're playing a very troubled Alabama A&M team today. That game will be broadcast live on KQXL 106.5 FM and tape delayed tomorrow night on Cox Sports Television at 7 o'clock p.m. Look, the Jaguars are coming in. They suffered some tough, humbling losses that have all but knocked them out of the Southwestern Athletic Conference Western Division race, but there's still some notables and some things to look forward to this season. Of course, we have the Bayou Classic in 2 weeks, and also there's some chances for some significant benchmarks to be raised. Junior, it is senior night, but junior running back Leonard Leonard Tillery. I did not just go there. Junior running back Leonard Tillery has 975 yards in the season, so he's very close to his second consecutive 1,000-yard season, and if he tacks on another 112 this year, he will become Southern University's all-time leading rusher, and he is a junior. He'll be back next year. When you consider all the athletes and running backs that have come through Southern, that's remarkable. And Willie Quinn can also tie the FCS record for special teams touchdowns. If he could just get one more, it will bring him up to 6 on the year. So there are some milestones to look out for. At A.W. Mumford, Alabama A&M is a woeful 2-4, and they've gotten torpedoed and blasted most of their games this year. I expect the same to happen. I've got the Jaguars today. Go Leonard Tillery, go seniors. Wear your gold and go Jags.
Go Jags. I also got Southern University to win this game. Like you said, it's just what the doctor ordered. And I'm thinking they're going to be building up here for the stretch run for the big game, Bayou Classic against Grambling. So I'm taking Southern today. Go Jags.
Hey, Trenton, do you happen to know who Leonard Tillery's first high school coach was?
I'll give you a hint. You know him. You just might not know. You might not know who it was, but you know him. Coach
Randall?
Coach Robert Valdez was his first head football coach in high school. Yes, absolutely correct.
Valdez. But we got to pick. I want to see if Trenton.
Coach, go ahead.
Fantastic athlete. Yeah, Leonard Tillery's fantastic athlete. Couldn't happen to a better young man. He's about to become the number 1 rusher in Southern University history, and he still has another year to play. So that's just an outstanding job. The Jags win today.
And we do a segment every week called I Told You So, which is coming up in just a moment, where we replay some of the things we said when we shoot our mouths off the week before or predict correctly, but we replay it. Everyone makes a pick. So who do you have, Southern versus Alabama A&M? Who you got, Trenton?
I got Southern.
Got Southern University. All right. So we got Trenton Charles in charge here. He's got Southern University. I know that's a dated reference. He probably was like, Charles, what?
You don't know. Charles in charge.
So,
your dad knows who that is.
Charles in charge. Okay, I'll stop. So look.
On the other side of town, moving quickly, rolling swiftly.
You know, who's right?
Well, on the other side of town, we got the LSU Tigers who are licking their wounds after getting just elephant stamp.
Wait, hold up. Before we start this segment right here, I got to do something from last week. Just give me a second. Wait a minute. Nick Saban, you the best. Nick Saban, I'm sorry. Nick Saban, you the best. There we go. Okay, I'm finished.
The LSU Tigers got elephant stampeded. I can't even keep a straight face now. By the Alabama Crimson Tide last week in Tuscaloosa, falling 30-16 in a game that was at a competitive first half, trading blows. They did throw the football effectively in the first half, but in the second half, the Crimson Tide took over. The tackling was very shoddy by the LSU defense. The blocking, they got completely blown off of the line by Alabama. LSU has an excellent offensive line, but Alabama's defensive line was better. And it showed as Alabama and Derrick Henry, who I've often said is like a pony in cleats, ran all over the Tigers. And the coach was right. I should never get baited in to going against Nick Saban. Prior to 2011, Les Miles had Nick Saban's number. You know what happened? Nick Saban changed that phone number, and it's gone. And he's in private. He's not on speed dial. He's not taking phone calls. He's not on social media because Les Miles can't find it. And that little run is over. Perry, you were right, and I was wrong, as that's coming up in just a minute.
Nick Saban, I'm sorry. Nick Saban, you're the best. I had to excise myself from now and then. I had to give myself an exorcism for going against Nick Saban, man, with 2 weeks preparation, and LSU with that same old toss sweep to Leonard Fournette, that ball toss. That is not going to work against a Nick Saban team with 2 weeks to prepare for you. You're not going to come in there with a vanilla offense and thinking you're just going to I'm going to get a ball to Leonard Fournette 30 times, and sooner or later he's just going to break one. That's not going to happen against Nick Saban.
They chucked the rock, though, in the first half. I mean, that Traven Darrell catch, they just couldn't get it done.
Those were forced throws to me. Those were like they tried to run, and then it was third and long. They had to go with those passes. So that's not like they came out. He should have came out passing to me, which I'm not the coach, but I would just change it up a little bit. Don't go with the same game plan that you play against every team. Give him 2 weeks to prepare to throw that ball toss to Leonard Fournette. Think that's going to work against Nick Saban. I was crazy, Nick Saban. I'm sorry. It'll never happen again. I am going with I'm sorry. Please. I am going with you all the way this year. I'm Nick Saban. I'm with you.
All right, so what about today's game in Tiger Stadium?
Well, it's interesting, Coach, because we have the University of Arkansas, and that will be 6:30 on ESPN. And Coach Bielema of Arkansas, he has a very similar philosophy to LSU. They like to run smash mouth, tight ends, fullback packages. I'll just, we have only so many minutes left, and we got to get to I told you so, so I'll keep it brief. Arkansas tries to play the same kind of game LSU has. LSU's at home, and I think LSU has more talent, so I think they rebound, and they slaughter the Hogs and make bacon of them today.
Going to be a close game. I'm mentally, will the loss of Alabama affect LSU today? It can affect them one way or the other. Either they're going to blow this team Arkansas out, or they're going to come back-to-back and lose this game against Arkansas with a big letdown. I'm going to go with they're going to be resilient. LSU wins this game.
I got LSU. No way my squad takes another loss back-to-back. So, Leonard Fournette going to show out tonight.
And Trenton's dad has full LSU gear on, much like myself today. So this is a very purple and gold studio today. Coach?
You know what? For folks listening around the country, they may not understand the extent of this game. This is a huge rivalry between Louisiana and Arkansas.
Yes.
And traditionally, with them being border states, that's what makes it such a huge rivalry. But traditionally, this is a tough game for LSU, regardless of their record, regardless of Arkansas's record. This is a tough game for LSU. And coming on the heels of the Alabama loss, I'm going to pick Arkansas to upset LSU today.
Woo! So on that note, we'll find out how Coach's words bode true as we go back to this week's edition
I Told You So.
of I Told You So, and it might be
text messages saying fire Les Miles. What you think,
boy.
Coach? Fire Les Miles,
here we
Coach.
go again.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
And honestly, Arkansas Pine Bluff is just what the doctor ordered.
I'm going with Southern University in this game.
I'm stunned all the way with this one as well.
Let's see.
What if I'm crazy? The best people are. Yeah, it's a home field. I would give probably Bama about 3 points.
Yeah, so are you picking or are you chicken?
Oh, no, I'm not chicken. I'm actually, I think LSU's going to win the football game.
But this year, I actually think we have the same talent, or if not more, and better, and we should win it.
And Coach Saban, you are the best to ever don the sideline, and you're going to find a way to win once again.
Going Clemson, I mean, they lose a game, a critical game to an opponent they should not lose to. They should not lose to Florida State, but they're Clemson, and I'm picking the Seminoles in this game.
But for the game, I'm going with Florida State with my upset pick.
Coach?
Clemson.
Jason Holliday?
I got Clemson.
He's got Clemson. But
right.
I just can't see them blowing this game. I think the Saints win and win big against the Tennessee Titans.
I'm going to pick the Saints.
I have to give slight edge to the Saints.
Jason?
Saints.
They're playing at Bank of America Stadium, and Green Bay, to quote Professor Terrell Johnson, they were exposed. Regrettably, I like the NFC South rival Carolina Panthers in this game.
You better believe it. Now, you know I'm not going against Cam.
Oh, Jam.
Oh, Cam.
So I'm going to go with Cam Newton.
I think Carolina's going to win as well. So.
Mr. Holliday?
The Panthers.
He's going with the Cats. We're off. Between the surprising Minnesota Vikings, who are not 5-2, and the St. Louis Rams. So I like Minnesota in this game.
Man, I'm gonna go with St. Louis.
Point. So I'm gonna give the edge to the Titans.
Jason Holliday.
I'm with the Vikings.
Go with the Minnesota Vikings. So
NFC East. I'm gonna go with the Eagles to win the NFC East. Mark me down. I'm going with the Packers to win the NFC North. NFC South, I'm going to go with the Saints. NFC West, of course, I'm going to go with Seattle. AFC East, I'm going to go with the Patriots. AFC North, man, I'm going to go with the Bengals. AFC South, I'm going to go with the Colts. In the AFC West, I'm going to go with the Broncos. So you have to have two more picks for the playoff teams. In the NFC, my two teams is going to be Arizona. It's going to be one. And the other one is the Vikings.
Interesting.
AFC is very, very hard to pick. But I'm going to have to go with the Texans. No. And the Bills.
That was the NFC East. I have the Dallas Cowboys winning the East. I have the division winners, the Cowboys, Packers, Saints, Seahawks, Patriots, Bengals, Colts, Broncos. Their wild card's a little different. I got in the NFC the Arizona Cardinals and Detroit Lions. In the AFC I have the Steelers, and I'm actually going to go out on a limb and pick the Oakland Raiders.
Who you got, Coach?
I have the Patriots, the Ravens, Indianapolis, Kansas City over Denver. In the NFC, the Panthers over the Saints. go with the Cowboys and the Eagles. The Cardinals win the NFC West.
Ooh.
Seattle is the wild card team in the NFC, along with the Vikings. And in the AFC, the wild card team is Pittsburgh and Buffalo.
Okay, my NFC pick for go to the Super Bowl is the Seattle Seahawks. I got to go ahead and go with the Indianapolis Colts.
Because I have the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC going to the Super Bowl. Got the Patriots going back to try to defend themselves.
I've got Indianapolis and Green Bay with the Packers, the people's team, in the camp.
Oh. Coming up in 4 minutes, we have Noel Jackson with Music Satisfaction here on 96.9 FM WHYR. So, Coach, right now it seems like you're probably the most on point of the two of us, both last week and for the season in the NFL. We got the Saints coming up tomorrow at Washington.
Coach was 5 of 5, I think.
I think he hit them all. I don't think he missed last week. So, Coach, so what I want you to do is I want you to make this first pick for the Saints and Redskins and then say Saints.
Well, you know what? I really think that the Saints really could win tomorrow up here because of the atrocious Redskin defense. The only problem is that the Saints defense is worse.
It is. It is.
So I'm going to go with the Redskins tomorrow. Forgive me.
I know.
Forgive me. I'm going with the team that plays in Washington.
Well, you know, the Saints are facing the Americans tomorrow in Washington, America's capital. I think both teams. The problem is the Americans don't have their offense is about as bad as the Saints' defense, and they're riddled with injuries. And Deshaun Jackson has been touch and go. So I think Drew Brees will have enough bullets in his gun to outlast Washington. So it's a 50-50, but I like the Saints in this one.
Every time I pick the Saints, that's when they lose. I'm going with the team that plays in Washington.
Good, I'll take that. That's good. I'll work with that because I want the Saints to win. We have the Cowboys, strike that, the Patriots and Giants. And, you know, you're the Giants. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. Trenton, who you got? My fault.
I'm going to take the Redskins.
So he's got Washington. Hey, we'll see. I hope that Joker's luck with picking the Saints continues. When he picks against them, they win. We have the Patriots and Giants, and the Giants are a team that are trying to take control of the NFC East. An undefeated Patriots team should not be what the doctor ordered, but when it comes to the Patriots and the Giants, you throw all the logic out of the window, but the Giants are the one team with a defense worse than the Saints. The Patriots are strong across the board. I don't like the Patriots. Anyone listens to this show knows me, but I'm not a fool. Notwithstanding the Giants' previous success against that franchise, I still like the Patriots tomorrow, although I expect there to be a lot of points in that game. Prince Amukamara is out for the Giants, as is Victor Cruz yet again, so I don't think they're going to beat New England.
I think it's going to be a lot of points, but it's going to be on New England. I'm going with dimple in the chin. Tom Brady, they're going to blow out the Saints. And the other word, the Giants. The other word T used to like to use is, you will see the New York Giants implode.
Yes, indeed.
Go ahead.
I'm taking Giants because Brady tends to struggle with the Giants, and, you know, all that's out the window. I'm taking Giants.
He is taking the New York Giants to hand the New England Patriots their first loss of the year. You heard it right here. Charles in charge, picking against the New England Patriots. My goodness gracious.
That was an important mistake, Mr. Charles. And it's one of my, if they win, I want you to call us back next week so you can gloat.
Oh, and I'll definitely hook you up on the I Told You So, too. Coach, I think I know who you're picking, but I didn't hear your pick.
Yeah, I'm going with the Patriots.
All right. We have 40 seconds left. Gentlemen, around the horn.
I'd like to thank everybody for checking us out today and listening. And, you know, like us on our Facebook page, Louisiana All American Sports. And shout out to my mom, Gwendolyn Hawkins.
I want to thank y'all for having me on the show. I had a great time, and shout out to my mom, Alana Colo.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. I would like to say that New Orleans lost an icon this past week. And we appreciate everything that he has done musically and exposure for Louisiana and New Orleans specifically. ADT, DNS, love you.
Have a good afternoon. We'll see you all Friday night, 7 p.m. Scotlandville hosting Mandeville on Louisiana All American Sports Game of the Week right here on 96.9 FM WHYR, streaming at WHYR.org. I said streaming at WHYR. There we go.
Oh, man.
Hail to the king and lots of love. May he protect us from the evil. Hail to the king, lots of love. May he protect us